Welcome. It's a fresh beat right here. I know some of you heard it. 2002 by Anne Marie. Very catchy and unique. If you haven't heard it, check it out. It's a good one. Standings here. Yeah, it's pretty. It's the chorus is all she's flashing back to 2002, and she blends a bunch of songs from that year together. It's just really cool. Anyway, that's the intro music. Our sponsor today is the Tesler, Adler, and Whalen Law Firm. They've been giving us not quite as hefty donations because, frankly, the quality I've been putting out has been not something I'm proud of. But standings, Lollipop Guild and Pimpin' A Breezy kind of killing it there. Obviously, Lollipop Guild known for his defensive ability, not giving up a ton of points, but kind of how it goes, right? So we're going to dive into the scoreboard here. By the way, it seems like kind of everybody's alive. Bunch of teams at 2-4. This is a big week too. Just if you look at it, a lot of kind of teams that are right there in that competing and fading bubble are playing one another, and then you have some tough spots for some teams that on bye weeks and some of that. So pay attention to buys and try to plan ahead if at all possible. I was looking at this real quick. I've done no prep. I just don't have time. I apologize, guys. I just super busy, which is a cop out. I know I got to do better, but grades were due this week. It's been a busy week. Every match this week features someone who actually watches or listens to this. So I'm going to have to. Brevity is going to be something that's going to be crucial here for us to get through. First matchup on the docket here is Juice top, Todd Gurley bottom. And frankly, I think that's what I'm going to do to Todd Gurley this week. Don't usually like to pick my matchup, but I think I'm going to win this week. Just looking at the spots for my team, a lot of my players are in some pretty explosive games, some high over-unders, and then, the ones that aren't, I think the way you beat Chicago and Houston is kind of through the air to running backs. So just kind of like the combination of the floor and the ceiling that my team has this week. Obviously, Todd Gurley is, I kind of have talked about this a little bit with some buds. He's got a chance to take down LaDainian Tomlinson, the pace he's on, for the greatest season ever for a running back, which sounds blasphemous, those of you who remember what LT did. I believe he had 33 total touchdowns and something like 1,800, 2,000 yards, 2,100 maybe total yards. Anyway, it was a lot. But, Ty's going to go as Todd Gurley goes. And one other thing just to touch on here with O.J. Howard and overall the Tampa Bay offense is I think you have to take a look at it, and they're explosive. They can't play defense. They throw a lot. But with DFS too, it's very difficult to predict where the ball is going because what you see with Jameis is just totally spreading the ball around to 5 different options. I think that kind of makes some more tournament plays and dart throws. There's a London game this weekend. The Chargers play Tennessee. So get up early and watch that if you would so choose. I think this is a good spot for my team, and I'm expecting Todd Gurley to go for his 35. Wentz kind of in a tough matchup here with Carolina. I kind of think that'll kind of be a low scoring but important game for both teams. Second matchup. Ain't Breezy against ShakenBake, 2 young men who will likely be very hungover after celebrating Ball State's homecoming. But they're going head-to-head this week, and if you notice the pillow fight that has begun here, sometimes that's the way it works. You get to play someone else who doesn't go for a lot of points a week when maybe you don't have your best stuff. Let's just go position by position. I'll tell you where I think the advantage is. I like Matt Stafford a little bit more than Drew Brees on the road at Baltimore. I think what we saw last week was 2 weeks ago, just a little bit of a shift. And the 2 players I think will mainly be impacted by Mark Ingram are the ceiling, certainly Alvin Kamara, and then also of Michael Thomas. I think we've seen what's happened with him the last couple weeks. I love Michael Thomas, but there's just no reason he needs to see 18 targets. This game, though, it could be one maybe where the Saints turn it over early and it becomes somewhat of a shootout. I think this Baltimore defense at home, New Orleans is coming off a bye, so you like that. But I prefer Matthew Stafford. I prefer Melvin Gordon by a lot over David Johnson, 7 points. That Arizona team, I tell you what, they're just bad. They're just not good at football. Then you get Diddy involved in the passing game a little bit, but that game was over in the first quarter. So, there's no reason to throw your franchise out there down 30. You have your backup running back in. It sucks when Diddy doesn't get to play the fourth quarter. And, what he didn't do today and what we talked about is he just didn't fall into the end zone. His yardage totals have been bad all year. And that's a product of the team, not the player. Diddy, very talented. Melvin Gordon is just, if not for what Todd Gurley were doing the last 2 years, people be talking about Melvin Gordon. I mean, this dude, he's a beast. Amazing his rookie season, he didn't score any touchdowns. Dalvin, it's hard to throw him out there with a hamstring injury. That's one of those that hamstrings are dangerous because you throw him out there, it gives you a goose egg. Just that re-injury. Like Zeke, kind of a tough matchup at Washington, but certainly prefer Zeke there due to the floor. Demaryius Thomas, man, he was involved in that game last night, but only came down with what it looks like 5 for 42. Keenum was looking for him, so I think that's a positive for Jesse going forward. This is a big week for Jarvis Landry. I like Alshon. Obviously, to do better than the 4.2. Kenny Galladay against Jarvis Landry. This is a big week for Jarvis Landry as far as his projection for the rest of the season. I am one I've never been high on Jarvis Landry. A lot of people just think volume. They see targets. And sometimes, kind of like Demaryius Thomas, it's not necessarily that the targets are down. It's just that where they are and what the targets are is more important to me. And I see Landry as a possession receiver, and I see Baker Mayfield as a young quarterback who maybe accuracy isn't there yet. So I'm going to go with Kenny Galladay in that as well. And this is going to be a very interesting matchup. Jay's going with Tyrell Williams there. Some rooting interest for the London game. So wake up and have yourself an energy drink there, Jay, or whatever your hangover medicine is, and root for Tyrell. This would be a great matchup. LaShawn McCoy at Indianapolis. I just don't know that LaShawn ever gets it going, but if he's going to, that's a pretty darn good spot to do it. Good luck to both teams. Marcus Kelly's team against the Butt Buddies. I like Andy Dalton a lot in this game against Kansas City. I also noticed the Butt Buddies. They may have even spent like $15 on Joe Flacco. I still favor Dalton. I just think what that game script is going to be, especially in prime time. I don't know. Joe Flacco is one of those guys that just when you think you can trust him, he kind of bails on you. So I prefer Dalton there. Head-to-head with Carlos Hyde. If you've noticed what Cleveland's been doing, other than being not very good on offense here recently, Hyde, after a huge touchdown start that could not continue, he's faded off, and they're starting to use the other running backs. So certainly Barkley, the better option there. Love Sonny Michel. He's got that questionable tag, and you hate seeing questionable tags with New England running backs because the problem is when you see that, they go into the game probable, and then they play, and then they have a quick yip, or something happens, and then all of a sudden New England just decides, hey, we're going to throw it 60 times. But I like Sonny Michel, just the volume there, and again the quality of touches is something that's crucial. Adam Thielen, can he continue this pace? Maybe. It's pretty phenomenal what he's been doing. John Brown, Marcus is taking the shot on a deep tubby time there. Maybe he needs that sort of explosive effort against the Butt Buddies this week. We'll see. The Butt Buddies are without Juju Smith-Schuster this week, one of their better players. And just taking a look at their team, DeAndre Hopkins, just the fact that he's at Jacksonville, he's already kind of questionable, is the main reason that I favor Marcus's team this week. And again, I think if two of Danny's best players, really his two best players, Juju Smith-Schuster and DeAndre Hopkins, because again, we kind of talked about the target share in Tampa, just with those players being either on bye or injured or playing at Jacksonville, it's a pretty good break for Marcus, and that's the large reason why I think he should actually cruise to a victory this week without too much more analysis there. Just don't think it's a big week for the Butt Buddies because of those two issues. Those are guys they need to have sealing games out of, but better things ahead for the Buddies. Luckbox Coach's Crew. Coach's Crew, he's kind of struggling. He's been struggling all year. He's getting Josh Gordon back. He has Josh Gordon and Odell Beckham Jr., two guys who could be suspended on any play. So certainly like that. Michael Crabtree got it going a little bit last week, 6 for 93 and a glory. And David Njoku is a guy who's seeing volume, playing at Tampa. Tampa's very worst in the league against the tight end. So this could kind of be interesting. But then you look at what Mr. Luckbox clutch gemed into last night. He hit up Emmanuel Sanders on the hotline, said, and he can pass, and he did. He threw the glory to the rookie. Forget his name right now. Phil Lindsay, bowled out for him a little bit. Had a nice little touchdown run late in the game. 14 for 90 and a touchdown. Just real solid. Real solid play there. And then this week, added Willie Snead, his 26th birthday. Adam says, you know what? Let's parlay that birthday with another celebration. Let's get you on Mr. Luckbox. Mr. Luckbox is going to win his 3rd match in a row. And don't look now, but Mr. Luckbox is coming. Okay. Oh, Kareem Hunt at home against Cincinnati. He could score like a gazillion points. Wow. Pass first offense, Mighty Midgets. Pass first offense going to need a tight end. First of all, Michael, I'm sure he will pick one up. Got Jimmy Graham, obviously, on bye this week. Mighty Midgets got off to a hot start this year. Really hot start this year. Gets Christian McCaffrey back again, a couple weeks removed from a bye. But the thing about McCaffrey that Adam needs is he just needs him to get into the end zone. And game script-wise, I'm not sure if this is going to be the week that it happens. I kind of think this game will be low scoring. I think it's one of those that Cameron, Wayne, Payne, Allen, Wayne, Newton hogs the glory times there. And I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. It's a game that intrigues me. But looking at Michael's team, if you actually click and you look at his team, he has, I believe, 2 top 10 running backs and 3 top 10 receivers. Tyreek Hill, if you didn't see those touchdowns he had in that game on Monday night, I actually didn't watch the second half really, and he just has another gear that I don't know that I've seen before. I look at Michael's receivers, and I think it makes it really tough for Adam to win this matchup. He's got Robert Woods with Cooper Kupp not in the game, playing at San Francisco. He's got Tyreek Hill in a shootout. He's got Julio always in a shootout because Atlanta plays no defense. It's incredible the fact that Julio cannot get into the end zone. And you look at it, he's on pace to have one of his better reception total seasons ever. He's just, I don't know, it's fascinating to me. But, he doesn't like the end zone. I like Michael's team this week. And again, I kind of already highlighted the reason for that. Kenyon Drake isn't a guy that I love. Stefan Diggs, it's interesting that he hasn't been a little bit more consistent in that offense. But, when you have Kirk Cousins, Travis Kelce's a monster. Man, that guy's good. So good. When you have Kirk Cousins, you're just, yeah. Here's a big one, the Lollipop Guild. He said he was boycotting the show, but I'll break it down anyway. Against Team Overrated Beard. He still hadn't named his own team. Patrick Mahomes is going to go bananas because that's what he does. Love Mark Ingram. Actually, even like Wendell Smallwood. Team Overrated Beard is trying to get back into this here, people. And which would be nothing if not heroic, especially this week. Without Antonio Brown, Jason again playing good defense. Okay, Jason's running pretty clean, right? And you know that when Antonio Brown, you don't even have to suit up against. It could be your year, and it could be Jason's time to get to 6-7-0, which is what we assume will happen, but not so fast because match still has to be played. Jason's team has won with fewer than 90 points twice this year. So he does have that ability to beat you in a lot of ways. He can win the shootouts. He can win the defensive slugfests. And looking at his team, the thing with Jared Goff going forward, if you have him in other leagues, is just what happened last week. When they get ahead by so much, in those passing touchdowns don't come early. They're not going to come because St. Louis doesn't have to score anymore. Obviously mathematically as well as just game theory. Joe Mixon, is a guy who started really hot. He's another one who he's got a very safe floor, and then you hope he gets in the end zone. I don't know that Joe Mixon has a lot of ceiling games, but still like him. Alvin Kamara, man, that usage last week, 2 weeks ago, was a little bit crazy. But if you look at it, Alvin Kamara, even before Ingram, most of the damage he was doing yardage-wise, with the exception of one game, was in the passing game. So, I don't know why that surprised so many people that they would use their better running back between the tackles. Jason, I think he's got a fantastic team. His running backs are elite. He's going to get Le'Veon Bell or whoever is in Pittsburgh back and have incredible running backs. I just don't know if he can win the league without making a trade for a legitimate receiver. So that'll be interesting, guys. Hey, I wish you all the best of luck this week. I hope you all find grace and glory. and anything else that starts with a G. And boys, we'll see you later. Deuces.